Alzheimer's LA provides free support and services to those affected by Alzheimer's and dementia.
There are over 5.7 million Americans affected by Alzheimer's disease.
Latinos are 1.5 times more likely to develop Alzheimer's.
African Americans are twice as likely to get diagnosed.
2/3 of those affected by Alzheimer's are women.
That's 3.4 million women.
Almost 500,000 women with Alzheimer's live in California.
The burden of caregiving falls on women, many of whom have to take time off or quit their jobs.
In California, Alzheimer's is the 4th leading cause of death among women.
Alzheimer's is a women's issue.
El Alzheimer es un tema de mujeres.
阿兹海默病是一个女生问题。
Alzheimer's is a women's issue.
Until there's a cure, Alzheimer's Los Angeles provides the care.
We deliver outreach and education to diverse communities.
Our early stage programs give you resources and tools for the journey ahead.
And our care counselors support you and your family every step of the way.
We know Alzheimer's is tough. Let's face it together.
Please welcome your host for the Alzheimer's Los Angeles 6th Annual Visionary Women's Afternoon Tea, Emmy-nominated actress Sharon Lawrence.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the 6th Annual Visionary Women's Afternoon Tea, benefiting Alzheimer's Los Angeles. Most importantly, today we are raising money to support local families facing Alzheimer's or another dementia. I'm delighted to share this virtual space with you as we once again recognize and celebrate two powerful women who've made a difference in our community. This afternoon, we will be meeting Dr. Laura Trejo, a true pioneer for the cause, whose distinguished career will leave you positively inspired. And you'll also get to know Carol Albright, a caregiver who is described as proactive in seeking support for herself and her partner, Judy, and showing strength and resilience in her vulnerability. And what better time is there than Women's History Month to appreciate the direct impact these extraordinary women have had on the front lines of this critical women's issue? In fact, later on in our program, you'll gain special insight on the future of services and support for the aging population directly from the recently appointed head of the LA Department of Aging and Community Services. I'm Sharon Lawrence, and I'm proud to serve as your host for the next hour. And trust me, you'll be glad you came. If you joined us last year, you might recall that Bridgerton was all the rage. And this year, we're very excited by the timely release of the upcoming Downton Abbey movie. Either way, we're all clearly fascinated by the culture and the tradition of the English afternoon tea. In fact, later in the program, we'll have a special presentation from Rebecca Goldberg from the Peninsula Beverly Hills to walk us through the history of the afternoon tea right here at the hotel. By now, I dare say that you'll have received your curated gift containing all the accoutrements that you will need to enjoy a traditional English afternoon tea. Alas, as we may not be descendants of the great lords and ladies of the English countryside, and you will have undoubtedly given your butler a well-deserved holiday. So if you haven't already, ring the kitchen to put the kettle on, because we're about to get started. Now that we're settled in with our perfectly brewed tea and delectable treats, I am so pleased to introduce another powerful woman in the Alzheimer's community, Alzheimer's Los Angeles' very own visionary president and CEO, Heather Cooper Ortner.
Thank you, Sharon. We are so grateful to have your delightful presence here to host this event once again and for your continued support of Alzheimer's Los Angeles. And thank you all for joining us virtually today. As I'm sure you can imagine, it has been quite the challenge to plan an event amid the continuously shifting landscape of COVID-19 variant surges and peaks over the past 6 months. The truth is that in addition to being an annual fundraiser, the Visionary Women's event has traditionally felt like a cherished reunion among friends. Moments ago, Sharon mentioned the Alzheimer's community, and that stood out to me as a very accurate description of the connection between those in need of support, those who provide the supportive services, and those like many of you here today whose financial support ensures those services continue to be made available and accessible to all who need them. So while I'm grateful for the resilience and technology that allows us to continue having this event virtually, I'm also very much looking forward to the next time we can reunite safely to celebrate the community we create together. This event is a special and purposeful tribute to women. It's not that we don't love the men in our lives, but the overwhelming burden of this disease falls disproportionately on women. Women get dementia twice as often as men, and 2/3 of caregivers are women. It's a powerful sisterhood. Tradition dictates, and it's not a hard one to follow, that we honor a caregiver because they are the true heroes of our community. Many people rise to the occasion to care for a close relative or friend, but there are those special people who go beyond that to share their knowledge and experience with the greater community. Today, we honor Carol Albright, and I know you will be as touched by her story as we all have been. This year, we are incredibly proud to honor Dr. Laura Trejo with the Connie Keiter Breaking Boundaries Award. Dr. Trejo, Laura if I may, is a true visionary. She has been at the forefront of serving this community's aging population for more than 3 decades, maybe even longer. Her leadership and uncanny ability to build coalitions have made her an agent for change. Few people have the ability to get things done and have impact the way Laura does. She effects changes in some of our bureaucracies, which are not known for their flexibility. She adeptly navigates a challenging environment, bringing together elected officials, policymakers, community leaders, and other stakeholders. I am thrilled that one of last year's honorees, our own Dr. Deborah Cherry, will be here later to share more about Laura and present her with her award. I have the great honor of working with some of the most dedicated professionals and volunteers anywhere. Throughout today's program, you will hear about the impact our programs and services have on the people who participate in them. Every dollar raised through this event stays local in our community, serving people in the greater Los Angeles area. Our programs are always free for families, and we could not do that without you. It is my pleasure to recognize our most generous sponsors, whose support today means every additional dollar raised goes directly to our programs and services and directly to the care of our clients and community. A special thank you to Susan Disney Lord and Scott Lord, the Alfred E. Mann Family Foundation, Randy and Richard Jones, Andrea and Jason Norcross, Deloitte, the Bob and Nita Hirsch Family Foundation. I would also like to thank the Alzheimer's LA Board of Directors, whose continued engagement and support has allowed our organization to adapt to the still shifting new normal, while advocating for the health and well-being of our staff, our families, and the clients we serve. And finally, this event would not be possible without our esteemed Visionary Women's Planning Committee. We are so grateful to all of you for your generosity of time and talent in bringing this beautiful event to life. In fact, I'm thrilled to invite Randy Jones, chair of our Visionary Women's Planning Committee, to join us now.
Thank you, Heather. And thank you all for joining us today. I know we're all very eager to hear from our 2 fascinating honorees, but first, I appreciate the opportunity to name some of the people who worked so tirelessly to make this program possible. To my fellow Planning Committee members, Liz Kantz, Beth Devermont, Mireya Diaz-Santos, Melly Kamvongsa, Barbara Kingston, Susie Levin, Monica Moore, and Linda Theben. Thank you all for the thoughtful and creative ways you've ensured that this virtual event feels intimate and special. You fabulous women have done more than simply select the color and pattern of our teacups today. We had a terrific slate of nominees submitted this year for the Caring Hearts Award. As I'm sure you can imagine, there are so many deserving caregivers who have gone above and beyond during these incredibly challenging times to create a stable and loving environment for their loved ones, living with Alzheimer's or another dementia. It was not easy to select one out of the many who were nominated, and I am grateful to this group of women for the thoughtful discourse that went into selecting this year's honoree. Another special addition to this year's program came about through a committee member's suggestion. As an organization that prioritizes diversity and accessibility, we are pleased to be able to offer Spanish language translation during our virtual event this year. I'd also like to thank the extraordinary staff of Alzheimer's LA for all they do every day, and in particular, to recognize two members of the team who have been key in bringing this creative vision to life, Randy Lovett and Brian Welch. Thank you for everything you did to create a seamless experience for everyone at home. And of course, this event would be nothing without you, our supporters. Whether you bought a ticket, placed an ad in the Journal, or made a special gift in honor of a visionary woman in your life, we thank you from the bottom of our teacups. Thank you, Randy. And thank you to the wonderful women of the Planning Committee for everything you do on behalf of Alzheimer's Los Angeles. Many of us have watched all 6 seasons of Downton Abbey, some of us maybe more than once. Well, we all know that the lives of the people who live in the big house and the surrounding village are greatly influenced by forward-thinking women who call the Abbey their home. But let's not forget the always proper Lord Grantham, steadfast in his loyalty and support of those very same women. Today, I'm honored to share that there is a gentleman in our world whose loyal generosity has given us all an opportunity to make a tremendous impact through our fundraising efforts. Years ago, that very special man, Harold Foonberg, issued his first matching gift challenge to honor his wife Eleanor during one of our afternoon luncheons. Today, he has once again committed to matching each and every one of your contributions made over the next hour, up to $15,000. That means if all of you at home can raise a collective $15,000 right now, Harold's matching gift will bring that total up to $30,000. This is a tremendous opportunity, and in a moment I will share exactly what it would mean to raise an additional $30,000 over the next hour. Now this year, we're not doing any additional boutique sales, and we can't exactly pass around a fancy hat. So we are asking you to do the next best thing. Right now, in the chat, our Alzheimer's staff is sharing a link to the donation page that will track how much we've raised during this event. And don't worry, you can click on it right now to make your online one-time gift that will double the impact of the community that we're here to celebrate. And once you're there, all you have to do is complete a very simple form and put in your credit card number. It's quite easy. But you know what that means. In order for Alzheimer's Los Angeles to see the full benefit of Harold's generosity, you need to help us raise an additional $15,000 right now. So let's take a look at what your gift can make possible. Raising $5,000 today will provide much-needed respite care for up to 100 caregivers who are still facing unprecedented stress levels in their rigorous daily schedules because of the pandemic. With approximately 177,000 people living with Alzheimer's in Los Angeles County, you can imagine just how many of them are feeling the weight of their selfless sacrifice. Help us give some of them a break they deserve. $7,000 raised today provides early-stage support programming for 7 newly diagnosed dementia patients and their care partners. We've seen the demand for early-stage services continue to grow throughout the pandemic. Your gift provides tailored education and support to help people facing a new diagnosis and understand what lays ahead and how to plan for it. With $10,000,
Alzheimer's LA will provide emergency support to families as part of our ongoing response to caregivers in crisis due to COVID-19. Some of the emergency needs we've heard about recently include rental assistance, access to food, affording medications, and medical expenses not covered by insurance. I see many of you have already made your contributions, and the dedicated staff of Alzheimer's Los Angeles will continue sharing our progress in the chat. $15,000 raised right now will provide 2 hours of personalized counseling for up to 75 people. This service provides education for families and care partners to develop a care plan and learn valuable coping techniques. Our care counselors have seen so many clients on the brink of crisis over these past 2 years, and far too many who have already reached the breaking point. This level of generosity will go so far to support these critically needed one-on-one sessions with Alzheimer's LA's caring and expert social workers. This is a very effective program, and it is one of the reasons Alzheimer's LA is recognized throughout the community for the lasting impact of their programs. And remember, if you help us raise $15,000 right now, that full amount will be doubled by Harold. An additional $15,000 would be enough to power our helpline for 3 months. That's 3 months of free multilingual help provided by Alzheimer's specialists with the most up-to-date information, education, and support. We're so close to meeting Lord Harold's match. So thank you all for taking the time to be here for this important event today and for giving what you can. This is how we improve lives. This is what we mean when we say, until there's a cure, Alzheimer's Los Angeles will provide the care. I hope by now each of you understands the tremendous impact your contribution has made on the community supported by Alzheimer's LA. For those of you making your gift right now, and I am joining you, yes I am clicking on that link and donating as well. So I want to join our whole team here in thanking you from the bottom of our hearts. While you finish making your donations and freshening up your tea, we're almost ready to move on to the heart of our program. So now settle in, because the women that you're about to meet deserve your full attention. In just a few moments, you will hear from Alicia Villegas on why she nominated our first honoree, Caring Hearts Award recipient, Carol Albright. But first, I'd like to share these caregiver stories with you.
What happened to me is that I became not his wife, but a caregiver.
I'm a caregiver for my wife, Ruth Franklin Vaughn. I've been a caregiver for her for 18 years.
It's really special for me to work at Alzheimer's LA because, like most people, I do have a family connection to the disease. I know just how challenging it can be.
The hallucinations he has makes it very challenging. Sometimes I think he doesn't even trust me.
She went missing for 3 days once.
One of the top questions that caregivers have is, what are my options as a caregiver? What types of help is available?
I am reaching out just now to a counselor because sometimes I am losing my patience and I get angry.
What this is a challenge. It's a challenge that I'm facing that I feel that I can handle with the proper support group.
We at Alzheimer's LA can help change a caregiver's life by just helping them feel less alone in what they're facing. I think caregiving can be a really isolating experience.
You should be part of a support group. You can't do it on your own. This was the best thing I ever did.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Talking to Zena and to Tori uplifted my confidence. In talking to the both of them, I felt a support.
Once the pandemic happened, we did have to shift our services to be provided virtually. And we actually found that once caregivers adapted to doing virtual programs, a lot of them really liked it. Another thing that we added was a virtual Ask Me Anything Instagram Live. I'm really proud to work at Alzheimer's LA because I know that each day myself and all of my colleagues are able to make a difference in someone's life.
I would love to thank everybody here who has helped me tremendously.
The support that was beyond.
Good afternoon, and I hope you're all enjoying today's wonderful tea. It is my great honor to introduce the following amazing woman to you all today. In my work at Alzheimer's Los Angeles, I meet many care partners who inspire me every day. Caregivers are kind, compassionate, selfless, practical, scared but determined. All these things and more is what I would say defines Carol Albright. I first met Carol and her partner Judy when they joined Memory Club in 2020. Judy had been diagnosed in October of 2019, and Carol really wanted to find support, a community for her and Judy, and some guidance. Carol and Judy have continued participating in groups like our grad club and alumni club, both currently being offered virtually. These groups help keep Carol and Judy connected with other families who face similar challenges. As an active member in our programs, Carol inspires other care partners by maintaining a good sense of humor about life, reminding other care partners of the importance of advocating for a family member, and highlighting that it's okay, it's necessary, and there is no shame in setting aside time to cry it out or laugh at the many challenges life has in store for us. Carol is not only a support for her partner Judy, she also loyally shows up for her friends who need care and might not have friends or family nearby. Carol offers kindness and assistance while being empathetic to where she and other care partners are in this journey. Carol always aims to walk alongside Judy, taking special care to help Judy maintain independence and a meaningful and fulfilling life, while at the same time, Carol attempts to focus on her own health. Carol demonstrates grace while facing hardship and makes room for her and Judy's humanity. Her attitude has been one of a go-getter, all while maintaining a good sense of humor about life. Her ability to share her experience so candidly with others serves as an example of how there is strength and resilience within vulnerability. Carol Albright is receiving the Caring Hearts Award, recognizing her as a selfless care partner whose efforts bring comfort and inspire others. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Carol Albright.
Thank you so much. This thing is heavy. It's a cliche, but it is. Thank you so much. I'm honored to receive the Caring Hearts Award. I believe I'm a surrogate for all care partners who are dedicated to providing the best quality of life for the people we love. I'm so grateful for all the support Judy and I have received from Alzheimer's LA. On the day that Judy and I were told she had Alzheimer's disease, a medical clerk handed me a list of resources to contact if I had any questions about Alzheimer's, and we were sent on our way. I remember standing outside the medical building in bright sunshine and feeling as though I needed to catch my breath. I remember the days that followed, feeling scared and sad and overwhelmed. Judy and I talked a lot about what was happening, but I cried alone, not wanting to feed her fears. The very first place I contacted was Alzheimer's LA. The first person I spoke with was Myra Torres. She signed us up for Memory Club, where Judy and I met each week with other care partners and loved ones with dementia. We also met Alicia Villegas and Tori Boyer, who along with Myra continue to lead the groups that we attend today. I got to meet Annie O, who registers Judy for all the great activities she attends. The programs offered by Alzheimer's LA are meant to educate and support care partners, and also provide a safe place for our loved ones to talk about their experiences and lives and to enjoy art and music activities. I'm grateful for the loving support that Alicia and Myra and Tori and Annie give to all of us. Those are the people we know, and I'm grateful to them and all the others involved with Alzheimer's LA who are dedicated to helping those touched by dementia. I so admire all the care partners I've met through this special organization. We are caring, loving people who are searching for the best ways to support our loved ones. We lift each other's spirits and share information about our experiences. What we do is unique, and we began our quest with little knowledge and few skills. With the support of Alzheimer's LA, I'm confident that I will thrive, not just survive, a journey that I did not expect. I'm grateful for Judy's daughter, Gina, her husband, Jimmy, and their 10-year-old son, Sebastian, who moved back to Los Angeles to support Judy and me. Alzheimer's LA will always be a part of my heart. Thank you again.
Alzheimer's is not a normal part of aging. It is a fatal brain disease that affects memory, ability, and personality. More than 6 million Americans are living with the diagnosis. Alzheimer's doesn't just affect the person with the disease. Friends and family provide over 15 billion hours in unpaid care. Alzheimer's Los Angeles provides people living with the disease and their caregivers free support, education, and services to make life a little easier. Get involved at alzheimersla.org.
And now, presenting the Connie Keiter Breaking Boundaries Award 2021 honoree, Dr. Deborah Cherry.
It is my pleasure today to introduce my dear friend and long-term colleague, Dr. Laura Trejo. Today, Laura is receiving the Connie Keiter Breaking Boundaries Award. Laura may be new to you, but she is not a newcomer to Alzheimer's Los Angeles. And indeed, her work with our organization and elsewhere has broken many boundaries. Let me start on the boundary she's broken in her personal life. Laura came to this country as a young girl with her immigrant mother. She started school with English as a language to be mastered. As you may imagine, she struggled to adjust to a new country and a new culture. Yet, she managed to graduate from USC with 2 master's degrees, one in gerontology and one in public administration. And this year, while working full-time, she successfully defended her dissertation and was awarded a doctorate in social work. She's impressive. The challenges in Laura's early life only served to make her stronger, more persistent, and extraordinarily strategic. They also helped shape her into an advocate for those whose voices are often unheard: the elderly, the poor, immigrants, people living with dementia and their family caregivers. On their behalf, Laura has also broken many boundaries in her professional life. Since this is an Alzheimer's event, let me limit my comments to those that most concern our population. In 1990, while Alzheimer's Los Angeles was primarily a volunteer organization, Laura became one of the founding members of our Multicultural Outreach Advisory Board. She worked tirelessly to bring information about dementia and about caregiving to members of our Latino community. In 1991, while working full-time at the County Department of Mental Health, Laura joined our staff part-time and became the director of our El Portal program, the nation's first program to develop culturally and linguistically appropriate educational materials and services in support of Latino families. The model, called a Dementia Care Network, was replicated later in African American and several Asian American communities in Los Angeles. It was also replicated in communities including San Diego, Orange County, many parts of the Bay Area, and up in Seattle, to mention just a few. El Portal went on to earn national awards for innovation, and Laura won the prestigious Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Community Health Leadership Award for her part in leading this effort. That award provided her with over $100,000 for a cause of her choice. And she generously had the foundation give the funds to Alzheimer's Los Angeles so that we could open a fully bilingual office in East Los Angeles. That legacy from Laura remains in place today. After leaving our staff, Laura returned to serve on Alzheimer's LA's board of directors, providing our organization with her wisdom and leadership for many years. She was also selected to serve on NAPA, the national council that oversees our national Alzheimer's plan and advises the federal government on Alzheimer's research, services, and supports. Laura continues to break boundaries even to this day. She was the first Latina to serve as the general manager of our City of Los Angeles Department of Aging. And just about a month ago, she became the executive director of the Department of Aging and Community Services for the entire county of Los Angeles. We are so fortunate that Laura has chosen to share her many talents with Alzheimer's Los Angeles and with caregiving families in this community. She is definitely a deserving recipient of the Connie Keiter Breaking Boundaries Award. Please join me today in welcoming Dr. Laura Trejo, this year's honoree.
Good afternoon and welcome to this wonderful event. I am Laura Trejo, and as one of today's honorees, I dedicate this recognition to two remarkable women who have helped define my life, my mother, Laura Silvia, and my godmother, Vilma Nora. Today is especially meaningful to our family because in 2019, we lost my godmother to Alzheimer's disease. I want to acknowledge that March 8th was International Women's Day, a celebration of a world that is diverse, equitable, and inclusive, a world where difference is valued and celebrated. For me, Alzheimer's Los Angeles has always been a place where diversity, equity, and inclusiveness are valued and put into practice. I remember in the mid-'80s working on various committees, including the Multicultural Outreach Board, that brought together leaders who could bring the message of hope to families in diverse communities when most even lacked the language to describe Alzheimer's disease, even if it ravished our families. I was there in the early 90s when we launched El Portal, the nation's first comprehensive program addressing the unique needs of Latino families facing Alzheimer's. And I witnessed how that worked was replicated and enhanced to serve other highly vulnerable and underserved groups. And today, I am supporting the leadership of Alzheimer's Los Angeles as we work on LA County's Healthy Brain Initiative, whose aim is to create strategic opportunities to support those experiencing Alzheimer's disease. In the time that I have worked with this amazing group of advocates and colleagues, I have witnessed how Alzheimer's disease has gone from a rarely understood diagnosis to the county's third leading cause of death. So how am I hoping to move our agenda forward? Last December, I accepted the challenge of creating a new department for Los Angeles County. In July of this year, we will launch a department whose focus will be the unique needs of an aging population and of older adults with disabilities. I am looking forward to the challenge of serving one of the nation's largest and most diverse populations, and I am counting on your support as we strive for all our communities to live well, age well, and thrive. In keeping with our theme of women in society, it should be noted that today we have the first all-woman-led Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County, and I am so proud to be part of the visionary women who serve the residents of Los Angeles. In closing, I want to thank Heather, Deborah, Kathy, Sharon, and the team at Alzheimer's LA, for they are the best community partners, supportive colleagues, and friends. My heartfelt appreciation to the Board of Directors and to the Planning Committee of this wonderful event. And to my family and friends and colleagues, thank you for your unconditional support. Thank you for supporting today's event. Thank you for supporting Alzheimer's LA and their wonderful work.
Friends, I have to say it's an absolute honor and privilege for me to be part of this event. not only as a way to help support the work that Alzheimer's LA is doing for our community, but also as an opportunity to be inspired by all the women that we've heard from today. Before we move on to the final segment of this afternoon's program, I want to remind you that we still have about 20 minutes left to reach our goal of raising $15,000 so that our good friend Harold can double the impact and help us improve the lives of our neighbors. Once again, the Alzheimer's LA team is available in the chat to provide you with the link where you can make your gift right now and have it count toward the matching gift challenge. And now it's my great honor to bring back Alzheimer's LA President and CEO, Heather Cooper Ortner, and the 2022 Connie Keiter Breaking Boundaries Award recipient, Dr. Laura Trejo, to share key insights on the future of care and support for Alzheimer's and other dementias in Los Angeles County. So Heather and Dr. Trejo, I'd like you guys to tell us a little bit about how families that are living with Alzheimer's here or another form of dementia, how they're really coping now.
Well, that's really the question of the day, isn't it, Sharon? It has definitely been hard, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
It has been, this past 2 years has just been so difficult on so many families. And the communities we serve, the diverse and traditionally underserved communities, have been the most hard hit, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. But each new wave brings just more challenges on top of challenges for every family that's dealing with this. They have had every imaginable challenge, including access to PPE at the beginning, needing to get food, not being able to work and leave their person at home. I mean, I know at the city, had to ramp up so fast, didn't you?
We did. And part of the challenge was, as the safer at home orders extended, our families became more and more stressed because they were unable to go visit their loved ones. Anybody who had a frailty, whether cognitively or physically, their families were under tremendous duress. I remember, towards the middle of last year, people were starting to devise how they were going to hug their loved ones, their elderly people. And it was touching. We were delivering literally millions of meals in Los Angeles County. And our delivery drivers began to write love notes on the boxes. I have photos where they would draw hearts and would say, Mary, we love you, when they were delivering the food, because our community needed to express that sense of connection. Because one of the things that now we're all of us so aware is the impact of social isolation. So the repercussions have been severe and continue. But I really believe in the resilience of all our communities. People came out and began to develop ways of being supportive, of leaving boxes at the front doors, of telephone, calls and saying, we care about you. So the good part is that we've seen the best also of human nature in being supportive and loving to those that needed that support and love. So while it's been incredibly stressful, I also think we've seen a lot of the silver linings of our communities.
It's really beautiful.
And not surprising. Not surprising. Indeed. Now, Laura, there are issues with our society needing the attention of talented people like yourself. So can you tell us why you chose to focus on gerontology and dementia care?
It wasn't even a difficult choice in my life. I was on my way to be a child psychologist as I started. And on the way there, I was really blessed to be at USC and was able to take a class in lifespan development psychology with Dr. Steve Zaret, who is one of the incredible geropsychologists of the field of aging and an expert in dementia care. And I had the opportunity of having him in a class, and I swear to you, I walked in and the world disappeared. All I could hear was his voice and thinking, I found my place. I belong here. What he was saying resonated in every part of who I wanted to be in the future. And so my entire sense of who I was shifted in literally 1 hour. And I started to plan how I was going to go into the field of aging. And 30-something years later, I am absolutely delighted I made that decision.
A true calling.
Yes, I think so. And I was blessed that I was able to actually identify that at a very young age, that was the place I wanted to be. I loved how I felt when I was doing, the work. I loved the people that I was around. They motivated me, and I always felt challenged beyond my limits, but in a really good way, because I wanted to be there. So it's always been sort of a joy. I've said to every person who's ever hired me, the day that I wake up and I don't want to go to work, I'm changing my career. And that hasn't happened in all of these decades. So I'm still enjoying it every single day.
And how wonderful to be in an area with such great teaching facilities like UCLA, like USC. It's a true advantage for all of us that are dealing with anything.
And just congratulations on recently defending your dissertation. We are so thrilled for you. I know that so much hard work went in. You worked full time in the midst of the pandemic and still achieved that amazing accomplishment. So
thank you.
Bravo, well done.
Thank you. It means a lot to me, means a lot to my family, but also means a lot to our communities. Communities of color, women being educated is very important. That's why, even though I did it in sort of at the end of my career, I thought it was important to have that achievement because of what it says to the young women in my family, that women can do it. And it may take you a little while longer, but just stay true and you'll get it done. So I'm excited that I was able to do it. I would not have picked a pandemic to do graduate school, but as I said to everybody, I had nowhere to go. So studying was my calling at that moment. So I'm very excited. So thank you, Heather, for acknowledging that.
What's that great saying that has to do with tea? That we never know how strong we are. Ladies are like tea bags. You never know how strong you will be until you're in hot water.
There you go. Yes,
right?
absolutely.
That's great.
Yes.
You also started a new position with the County of Los Angeles as the leader of the new LA County Department of Aging and Community Services. What are your top 3 priorities?
Top 3 priorities right now is I got to get a department established by July 1st of this year. We have to make sure that we're addressing the issues of social isolation as a community. I'm also very concerned about making sure that we develop a focus around equity and social justice in the delivery of our services to make sure we're being inclusive of the wide array of populations that live in Los Angeles. And 3 is an issue of mobility. We want to make sure that older adults can get to the locations that they need. One of the things that we learned in the pandemic, as our ability to move was decreased, older adults suffered tremendous negative outcomes. And so one of the priorities that I'm looking at is around transportation equity to make sure that older adults can be mobile, because many times we advocate for older adults to give up their keys, but we don't advocate for public transportation that is readily accessible and available. So that's one of the areas that is very much top of mind for me in the coming months.
We talked about the fact that you have earned your PhD during the pandemic, and we're wondering, do you have any plans to use the credentials as in an academic way or any other way, advocacy or?
Well, one of the things that I've always kept was I always say I keep my pinky inside of academia. So I have always worked with my colleagues who are social scientists. I actually co-direct an applied research center at UCLA right now. So I've continued to mentor young research scientists because we want to create the next generation who understands the unique needs of our communities. So I believe that will always be my calling. Teaching is something that I absolutely adore. And I also like writing. So during the pandemic, I was very fortunate to collaborate with colleagues, and we actually had 2 publications into the literature. And so again, we had nowhere to go, folks. So, a lot of it was, writing became a real safe harbor. And so I hope to continue to be able to contribute to my field in that way.
Well, that's valuable information to pass on. You are the keeper of the flame. So Heather, would you please give us an update on how things are going at Alzheimer's Los Angeles right now, and what's new and what's coming up?
Well, gratefully, Sharon, we are doing really well. We're doing great. We're in a position of strength, much more than we had hoped to be at the beginning of the pandemic. We, like everybody else in the community, really struggled and did our best to pivot, was the word of the moment, right? We all had to pivot to doing things virtually. And we struggled also, but we are very, very grateful for the support and the generosity of our donors, our funders,
and to the government for taking action on things like the CARES Act and ensuring that that kind of money really did flow to community-based organizations like ours. So we are doing great, and in fact, we're not only have we been able to really maintain all our programs and services and continue to be delivering our direct services to the families most in need, but we are actually at the beginning of what we see as a growth cycle, and reinvesting in the organization and recommitting to our commitment to do more work and to serve our disadvantaged, our diverse communities even more. We're bringing in new positions. In fact, we're currently recruiting for an Associate VP of Community Education and Health Equity to ensure that all of our community education programs are done through an equity lens and making sure that our programs continue to meet the needs of our communities. So we're grateful to be able to continue delivering these programs and services. It has been, as we said earlier, hard on our families and hard on our staff, like everybody, but we are doing as well as I think any nonprofit could be doing, and with much appreciation to our donors for that.
Well, we can tell the passion is so deep in both of you. How has this work enriched your own personal lives?
Oh,
you know, it's enriched every aspect of my life, this work. I will tell you the best part is when we meet the families that we get to work with. We have an honor of being allowed into their lives, into their space, into sometimes their stress, their pain, but they also give us their joy and their hope and their perseverance and their belief. And so we learn and we get touched so often by their energy that it's, you know, what I live off of. And so the reason I do it is because I get to meet incredible people walking journeys and they allow you to walk with them for a few steps by providing some level of assistance and support. But we get so much more out of it. And I am so grateful to the community that lets us into their lives.
Wow. Yeah, I couldn't say it any better. And I the only thing I'll add is that I know every single day at the end of the day, no matter how stressed I am personally, that our team has made somebody's life better that day. And I can go to sleep knowing that we're out there doing the work to help people every single day. And that is, no matter what else may be going on, makes everything worthwhile.
Right, that's inspiring. So how about new tools? New tools or resources. What are you excited about that you can offer your community now?
So we are very excited. There's a couple new initiatives that we are working on, including the Healthy Brain Initiative that Dr. Trejo mentioned. So we are very excited to be partners with the county and the Department of Public Health on this new program, which is specifically targeting the African American and Latino communities in South LA to help increase awareness and understanding about how to keep a healthy brain. We're very excited about that program. I'm also very excited that coming later this month or early next month, we will have the launch of season 2 of our telenovela, Lost Memories in English, Perdidos Recuerdos? Recuerdos Perdidos.
Recuerdos Perdidos, correct.
Sorry, thank you, I should have deferred to you, but Recuerdos Perdidos in Spanish, and it's season 2. Season 1 we did a few years ago, and it covered a multi-generational Latino family dealing with early symptoms, understanding what was going on with the grandmother in the family, and addressing warning signs, how to talk to a doctor, and how to bring the family along, get everybody in the same page. Season 2, which we will be launching very soon, the grandmother has moved on to the middle stages of the disease, and so now this helps us address what's happening within the family in a way that is really culturally sensitive and competent to help address stigma. We have the same actors, the same production company, so it really is the same family, and we're going along their journey through Alzheimer's. The first season was a fabulous success. It won awards, and so we're very excited to see season 2 come out and to be able to bring that out to the community to help people gain more understanding about the disease and what happens to a family and how a family learns to cope with it.
That's wonderful. Well, it seems to me that there's a lot to celebrate with our Alzheimer's Los Angeles community. So I want to toast you and everyone watching and thank you all for the energy, the enthusiasm, the inspiration that you've given us today. You are visionary women. Absolutely.
As are you.
So congratulations to us all. Thank you for your support. Cheers to Vision and Alzheimer's LA.
Thank you, Sharon. Oh, very nice.
Fascinating stuff. Thank you both for sharing such valuable insight, and thank you all for joining us through this hour as we take time to recognize not only the impact Alzheimer's and other dementias have on women, but also the impact these visionary women have had on Alzheimer's care. I've just been told that we're so close to reaching our target of raising $15,000 as part of our matching gift challenge. If you haven't already, please go to the link being shared in the chat right now to make your gift. And if you've already given and are moved to give again, thank you. Now, as a final treat before we wrap up our Visionary Women's Afternoon Tea, I am delighted to introduce Rebecca Goldberg, the hotel manager here at the incomparable Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills. Rebecca's also the resident expert on the long-standing afternoon tea at the hotel and is here to share some insights. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you, Sharon, and thank you to Alzheimer's LA for inviting me to be here today. I only wish I could have welcomed you all in person. One of my favorite stories about afternoon tea is how it all began. It was introduced in England by Anna, the 7th Duchess of Bedford, in the year 1840. The Duchess would become hungry around 4 o'clock in the afternoon and would complain of a sinking feeling. The evening meal in her household was served fashionably late at 8 o'clock, thus leaving a long period of time between lunch and dinner. The Duchess asked that a tray of tea, bread and butter, as well as cake, be brought to her room during the late afternoon. This became a habit of hers, and she began inviting friends to join her. The pause for tea became a fashionable social event. During the 1880s, upper class and society women would change into their long gowns, gloves, and hats for their afternoon tea, which was usually served in the drawing room between 4 and 5 o'clock. The menu for afternoon tea here at the Peninsula Beverly Hills is a bit more elaborate than it was in 1840. However, you can still find women gathering in their finest to sit, gossip, celebrate, and enjoy. We've been serving afternoon tea for almost 30 years, as it is a tradition that is almost synonymous with the Peninsula brand. If you've ever been to the Peninsula Hong Kong, I'm sure you've seen the very long queue that forms daily for guests wishing to be seen in the lobby enjoying tea. The same goes for tea here at the Peninsula Beverly Hills. Our guests love every little detail that goes into the experience. Today I have for you some of those most important details. Fine linen, which of course is a must for afternoon tea. Our beautiful china, which is hand-painted by a local artist. Our elegant teacups as well as saucers. A teapot, which is also covered with a tea cozy, which is meant to keep the tea warm. Our scones, pastries, and finger sandwiches. Raspberry jam, Devonshire cream, and lemon curd. And of course, fresh strawberries and cream, which is meant to cleanse the palate. Lastly, of course, champagne. Thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you at the Peninsula Beverly Hills. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. This has been a very inspiring hour for me, and I hope it has been for you too. I'd like to once again thank the beautiful Peninsula Hotel, Rebecca Goldberg, and Chris Rogers for providing this space for us to host our virtual event for you this afternoon. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, our honorees, the planning committee, and of course, Harold Foonberg for all of their generous contributions to this event's tremendous success. It is my sincere hope that by this time next year, we'll be enjoying our afternoon tea in person. Until then, on behalf of myself and everyone at Alzheimer's LA, keep calm and carry on.
On behalf of all the members of the Visionary Women's Afternoon Tea Committee and everyone at Alzheimer's Los Angeles, I want to thank all of you again so much for your support and your attention. And we look forward to seeing you again next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So who wants a scone?